The Book of Pilip and Goid. Up high in the cold, white Fractish mountains, a young pale soldier overlooked limit's limit. His name was Pilip. He had typical icy blue eyes, a thick black square-shaped mohawk, green skin, an athletic build, and ambitious devotion to his fatherland. Pilip's patriotism motivated him to defend Verithia every waking moment. However, his main care was climbing ranks. Ever since his youth, he exhibited natural talent in the fields of martial arts, shielding, sword-wielding, smithing, archery, horseback riding, tent-making, knife-throwing, sprinting, and strategy games. After years of training in the finest military academies of the country, Pilip was finally ready to enroll as a professional warrior. Despite his many accolades, he started out humbly as a border patrol officer, like most of his novice peers. His internship was overseen by an older general whom he reverenced, a certain man named Lup. Pilip confided in him as a son would with his father. In particular, the rookie expressed his disappointment about being stationed in a remote outpost with little to no prospects or action. One fateful evening, Pilip decided to voice his feelings to Lup. Thus, he knocked on his door and stepped into the general's chamber. "Hello, sir." "Pilip, I see you've settled in." After carefully reading the young man's face, the elder said, "I perceive you're not too happy with your arrangement. Could it be your mattress?" "No, sir, the mattress is fine." "Well then, what's the matter, soldier?" "Sir, is it true that when you were my age, you fought against the Great Gromer invasion?" "Why, yes. Those ginger-skinned beasts trembled at our battalion." He chuckled as he reminisced about those days, looking up at the ceiling. "Sir, I also want to feel that thrill." "Pilip, Pilip, those were different times. Verithia's finally at peace now. Your job is to protect the limit. War means death. The quiet we have now is a blessing. Don't you forget that." "Sir, yes, sir." Pilip paused a second. "I suppose what I mean is that without actual combat experience, I won't be able to prove myself." "Your ambition's peculiar. Most men your age are simply content with comfort and a steady salary." "Sure, you're right, however. This current landscape does not exactly encourage one to advance his career meritocratically." "What if I went out beyond the limit?" he asked rashly. "You what? Recklessness is reckless. Why would you want to do such a thing?" "Sir, I thought maybe we could colonize the outer lands." "Ha! More like we'd spread ourselves thin like butter." Well then, sir, how can I become a general like you?" "You seem awfully eager, Pilip. Normally, your impatience would be shunned by other pals. Nevertheless, I think I know of a way you could climb the military pyramid." "How, sir?" "Are you sure you really want to know?" "Yes, sir." "Okay, then. I'll let you in on a little secret." Pilip looked at him like a dog wagging its tail. "Yes, sir?" "Son, once you start, there's no going back. I'll ask again. Are you sure you want to proceed?" "Yes, sir." After crossing his legs, leaning back in his seat, lighting a cigar, Lup told him, "Truth of the matter is that there are certain fraternities. How do you think some of your friends, while much less gifted than you, reach such elevated positions of authority so soon?" "I don't know, sir. Money? Family ties?" Partially, perhaps. However, the true reason is their membership in said societies. Are you following me, Pilip?" "Sir, I come from a poor family who lives on a coast at the asphalt. These fancy groups are out of my league." "Oh, pfft. We're all equal, Pilip. Hierarchy is a construct. In the short term, it will foster long-term equality and peace, i.e., the dream of many learned Verith philosophers. You want to join the elite echelons, right?" Pilip nodded. "Are you willing to do whatever it takes?" "Yes, sir. Anything for Pelland." Anything for Verithia. Attaboy. Then meet me again back here tomorrow, same time. Sir, yes, sir. After a long, boring, frigid day staring at distant snow, Pilip headed over to Lup's office. When he opened the door, the room was dark. Besides the fireplace, only a couple of small candles shined dimly. 12 hooded men stood in line on either side of Pilip, 6 on his right and 6 on his left. In front of him, Lup sat at his desk, in a long red robe, in front of a large window. Pilip walked forward toward the only face he could distinguish. Sir, what's going on? He asked timidly. Who are all these people? These here are friend babblers, members of an ancient and revered discreet organization. Yesterday's conversation confirmed my suspicion that you are an ideal candidate to join us. Friend babblers? Sir, you're a friend babbler? Yes, Pilip. Did you know that secrecy is the manliest virtue? Our order has helped shape many events for centuries. You have in front of you an opportunity to enter the club and reshape the world for good with us. Sir, what must I do? There are several steps and subsequent levels to this. First, you must recite an oath to swear secrecy and allegiance to us. Are you willing to do so? Remember, friend babblers will take your career higher than you can fathom. No more idle days and snowflakes, getting treated as some amateur. Prestige and power are among the perks, not only in Pelland. Sir, I'm willing, but my dad once told me that the book speaks evil of oaths. Oh, don't worry, son. We babblers venerate the book. It's actually quite full of oaths. The maker himself swore. Oh, then perhaps I remember incorrectly. In that case, I'm ready to swear, sir. One of the men standing on his right took out a heavy piece of paper and handed it to Pilip. On that parchment there is the oath you must recite. Read it aloud while holding your right hand on this copy of the book. Pilip obeyed his mentor's orders. Marvelous. Now the second step. You must sign the document. Okay, sir. He looked around. Does anyone have a pen? He asked. In blood, Pilip. Pardon me, sir? You must sign it with your own blood. It's thicker than water and ink. Another hooded friend babbler on his left stepped forward and gave Pilip a long, sharp knife. Pilip made an incision on his left palm and then signed the written oath with his bloodied right index finger. He wrote, Pilip, son of Pilip. Bravo, Pilip. You're a natural. Last but not least, each one of us will hug you in turn. At one point, everyone here was a neophyte like you. This ritual will celebrate your new birth into our glorious family. One by one, every babbler kissed Pilip on his right cheek, saying, Welcome, brother. Pilip felt uncomfortable, but he hid it well and acquiesced. Lastly, Lup stood up and hugged him with a kiss. He told his pupil, Welcome, brother, to the first level of the aged and recognized Verith custom of friend babblery. Rise within our ranks, and you will climb the pell ladder as well. Betray us in your oath, and you will wish your mother had been barren. Welcome, brother. The men in the room lit up a few more candles. To Pilip's surprise, underneath the shadows cast by their hoods, he could discern the faces of several Pell higher-ups. Lup told the stoic young initiate, Your journey has only but commenced. Tests will come your way, and your response will reveal whether you are ready to advance to the next stage. Brother Pilip, you are dismissed. Thank you, sir. Pilip left the room and looked down at his cut hand. He felt odd and conflicted, but brushed it off and headed to his dorm room. Back inside the general's chamber, one of the high-ranking babblers told Lup, Master, are you positive about this? How about the rest of you brothers? This young Pell hesitated. Patience, patience, brother. In time, he will learn. In time, he will see. We had to include him. His seal is a problem, Nonetheless, if we steer it wisely in favor of our cause, it will constitute a formidable asset. The next night, Pilip's loyalty already got tested. After being summoned outside, he got his snow boots on. With a small group of fellow soldiers and friend battlers, including Lup, he marched to the limit of the limit. The men were holding weapons and lanterns. "Pilip, do you trust me?" asked Lup as they walked in the dark wind. "I do, sir," answered Pilip. "Do you trust us?" he asked again. "Yes, sir." "Good. Soon you will see something rather amazing and terrible. Have no fear, yet brace yourself." "Sir, yes, sir," said Pilip as he nodded. The group reached the border with the land of Gromers. There, Pilip didn't know what to expect. Then, he finally saw what Lup had warned them about. A second team of friend-babbling soldiers was waiting for them, next to a trio of tied-down Gromers and 3 long trucks. "Sir," said Pilip, "what's all this about? Do I have to kill these Gromers? Is this my test?" "No, Pilip. On the contrary. Gromers are living creatures, just like you and me. We are all equal." Then why are they tied up like that? Why'd you fight an entire war against them?" "Your journey into the light of knowledge has only begun. Eventually, you will have the answers you seek. Take heed now. Prove to us that you are worthy of receiving them." "Sir, I'm afraid I don't understand." "Do you see those trucks over there? Each one will deliver a Gromer into Verithia." But sir, Gromers are violent and dangerous." "Gromers are merely misunderstood. Have you ever even seen one before?" "No, sir, I haven't. But ignorance has blinded the minds of many Veriths. You must remove your bias. You must defeat your nescience. You must take off your blindfolds. This is what the first test is for." "What am I supposed to do, sir?" "You must comprehend one thing. True loyalty to Verithia lies in loyalty to friend babblery. I want you to drive the truck to the land of Frigos." At the sound of those words, Pilip felt a crushing burden on his shoulders. He only saw 2 ways of responding to such an unusual request. On the one hand, he thought and felt it would be convenient to submit to Lup's will, gain the friend battler's approval, and rise in the world. On the other hand, he sensed and believed that his mentor's reasoning was flawed. "Sir, recklessness is reckless," said Pilip recklessly. The elder Pel was shocked and angered at that familiar reply. Insolence is insolent. To make matters worse, Pilip kept on speaking. "If the Gromers are let loose, they could kill someone. Sir, not only would that trouble my conscience, that'd be an act of treason. Treachery against the order is treacherous. Brother Pilip, we are disappointed in you. You have failed today. Please, go back to the fortress and see me first thing tomorrow morning." Pilip looked down and said, "Sir, yes, sir." Once Pilip was far enough, one of the friend battlers said, "Master Lup, this kid didn't receive a cosmopolitan education like us. Recruiting him into the order was a mistake. Perhaps the Shuz should have had him, or better yet, no one. I understand your concern, brother, yet his potential is boundless, full of fiery passion. He is far too solar, active and masculine for the lunar, passive and feminine Shuz. I was exactly like him at his age. Now look at me." Pilip walked into his bedroom, sat on his bed by a small square window. Moonlight shined through it, mingling itself with a small orange candlelight. Pilip looked down at his left hand. He then prayed. "Dear Creator of the heaven and the earth, I've sinned against you and my people. I'm sorry I haven't talked to you or heard from you in a long time. Please, according to your mercy, save me from this mess. I ask for your help in his precious and mighty name. Amen." That night, Pilip couldn't fall asleep. He lay down on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Suddenly, the memory of his dad giving him a copy of the book before he left home came to mind. Pilip opened the drawer and found it sitting there. After blowing the dust off, he opened it and started reading. A few verses particularly stood out to him. Pilip got up and sat at his desk. In his journal, the young soldier wrote down, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear, in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." As he read this, Pilip felt condemned and worried that his affiliation with Friend Babbler might get discovered. He kept on reading, in front of the only window in his room. After a while, he reached the 49th book of the book. Pilip read it with extra care. The following sentence helped placate his feelings of inadequacy. He whispered aloud, "In whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, according to the riches of his grace." Pilip got goosebumps and started tearing up. Looking down at his cut palm, he had a flashback of the bloody signature. A couple of tears fell on the pages of the book and on his hands. Eventually, the zealous pal arrived at the 5th chapter. He had never read it before. A verse reminded him of Lup's seductive words, but a crucial detail eroded his old mentor's speech. "For you were sometimes in darkness, but now you are light in the Lord." Pilip grabbed a pen and underlined those last 3 words. "Walk as children of light," he continued quietly. Inevitably, he stumbled upon a command that convicted him and deeply resonated with his spirit. He read it and wrote down, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret." He didn't know it yet, but those scriptures would radically change his life and undo his trajectory. Pilip lifted his eyes off the pages of the book and stared out into the freezing stretch outside, repeating those verses in his head. Fate would have it that in that precise moment he spotted the outline of a vehicle in the dark snowy night. Another rectangular shape followed the first, and then a third. He realized those looked exactly like the trucks the Friend Balbers had shown him. Fear paralyzed him, yet in his mind a dutiful voice recited, "Reprove them." Pilip jumped out of his seat and left his bedroom. He marched down the hall, banging on the walls and doors with his fists, yelling, "Grommers! Grommers! They're betraying us! Wake up!" Sleepy and startled soldiers, both old and young, stepped out of their rooms in their pajamas. "I saw 3 trucks on the road. Friend Babblers are letting Grommers in through Pelland. We have to stop them." Some of the men commented, "This guy's lost it." Others said, "He's beside himself." "I'm telling you, I saw them with my own eyes." "Either he's had a really vivid dream or a really strong drink," joked one of his comrades. They all laughed him to scorn. An old officer stepped out in the hallway and asked, "What's the meaning of all this?" "Get back to sleep, soldiers." The man approached the distressed Pilip. "Sir, thank goodness," exclaimed Pilip. "Please, you've got to stop those trucks, sir." "Keep it down, son." "What trucks?" "Come, please, I'll show you." Pilip managed to show the officer the convoy from his bedroom's window. That is strange. We'll go inspect it, all right? But calm down, soldier. Wait here." "Thank you, sir." Pilip remained glued to his window, observing the scene obsessively without blinking. A group of soldiers approached the 3 vehicles. When they opened them, the reaction was normal. It seemed like nothing was out of the ordinary. The soldiers left with the officer, and so did the trucks. Pilip grew so furious that he smashed many objects in his room to bits. Dawn approached. After a few minutes, the officer knocked on Pilip's door. He opened up and angrily asked, "Sir, why'd you let them go?" The man saw the mess in Pilip's room and sighed. 2 robust men in white suits and a pale woman in a white coat stood there next to him. "Please, come with us, Pilip," he said. For what?" "To evaluate your mental. It won't last too long, don't worry." The 2 bulky soldiers grabbed Pilip by his arms. "Where are you taking me?" Behind them, the woman in white took notes on a small notepad. One of them whispered to him, "The less you resist, the quicker this will be." Pilip, however, kept rambling. "Let go of me! I demand to see General Lupp!" Curious soldiers peeked out in the hallway from their rooms, some with doors wide open, others through narrow crevices. The two buff men set him down inside a cold room painted white all around. They forced him to ingest the bittersweet liquid. Once he did, he felt extremely numb and drowsy. In front of him was a dark wooden desk. Behind it, 2 chairs. The pale woman from before sat quietly with glasses and a clipboard, while next to her, on her right, a fat man with sea-green skin sat with his hands clamped together, forming a diamond with his fingers. "He's not the first," whispered the uptight, skinny female pal. "These symptoms usually manifested around this age," remarked the smug older male with nonchalance and a strange accent. "Pilip, are you finally calm enough to discuss things rationally with us?"
"Who the hell are you?"
slurred Pilip. "I'm Dr. Shillip, and this is my apprentice, Miss Vaught. We're here to help you. We're not your enemies."
"I don't know what you are."
The woman anxiously took notes with a pen.
"What do you want from me?"
asked Pilip. "It appears you've caused quite a stir, young man. It's not your fault, however."
What do you mean?"
asked Pilip, hoping the doctor was aware of the Frembalber plot, or at least sympathized with him. "At your age, some Barretts start exhibiting symptoms of a chemical imbalance in the brain. Your genetic makeup, raging hormones, and the power of suggestion can ail you. In other words, you appear to be a victim of what we call a mental illness. Do you have a history of insanity in your family?"
"Mental what? I'm not crazy."
"I'm not saying you are," he hissed nasally as he fixed his eyeglasses. The woman kept taking notes in the background.
"Then why are you keeping me here? What did those bastards give me to drink?"
"Therapy, medicine, to help you relax. You aren't here to harm you, Pilip, but to rehabilitate you. With our aid, you'll be a productive member of society again. Your brain will heal."
"But I saw them. I saw the Gromers. I'm telling you. You've got to believe me. There's a group called the Frembalbers. They're plotting against Verithia."
"Pilip, their responsible officer checked each vehicle and found nothing inside of them. You appear to be suffering from some sort of delirium. Conspiracy theorists are renowned to be paranoiacs and extremists. Neither you nor they have any evidence for the wrongdoings of such a group."
"Are you also a part of them? I joined them. Look at my hand. They made me swear a secret blood oath."
"Self-harm, doctor," whispered the timid woman in his ear. He turned towards her and whispered, covering his mouth, but just loud enough for Pilip to overhear. "Write down depressive, manic, and suicidal tendencies." Then, after turning his head back towards Pilip, he asked, "And these Frembalbers, what did they look like?"
"They wore red robes and hoods. One of them was General Lupp himself. I saw famous politicians and important soldiers, too."
"General Lupp? He's been on vacation in Nerdenland for the past 6 months," said the male.
"What? No, that's impossible. I literally saw him last night. He was in his office the other day."
"How come you were ranting last night? Why did you shout all those things?"
"I already told you. Because of the Frembalbers and the Gromers."
"Gromers haven't been a threat for decades. They haven't been seen in years."
"I saw them."
"Why criticize the babblers?"
"The book says to expose the works of evil."
The old man whispered in the woman's ear. "Religious fanaticism, hero complex, delusions of grandeur, and psychosis." "Ah, yes, yes," said the woman as she kept writing obediently. "Tell me, Pilip, do you also happen to believe in the existence of the so-called Sinjays?"
"What kind of question is that? Who doesn't?"
he answered, perplexed by the question. "I see. Do you think they're evil?"
"Obviously."
The doctor talked in the female's ear again, while she documented his words. Pilip got so irritated that, with the little strength he had left, he stood up and ripped the page out of her lap. He read a list with the following terms: delusional, disturbed, schizophrenic, paranoid.
"What the—"
mumbled Pilip. The woman screamed in fear and the doctor called the soldiers. "Oish! Guards! Come quickly!" 2 men in white clothing rushed in the room and grabbed Pilip. "Escort this deranged young man to the mental hospital right now, and up his dose!" The 2 soldiers carried Pilip in a spacious white room. They strapped him down in a chair and put a small cup up to his lips. Pilip spit the liquid out on the floor without hesitating. The second soldier kept his head steady to make sure he'd drink it the second time. Pilip felt powerless and humiliated, too drained and sedated to even want to move. He sat, looking around with droopy eyes. Chubby, drooling, flabby, smoking, sleepy patients filled the room. A sudden realization of horror hit Pilip's core. In fact, many young pals like him were stuck in there, and had been for what seemed like a long time. One of them sitting by him asked, "Hey, how come you're in here? You look pretty healthy compared to the others." "I'm not sure. Why are you here?" "Oh, I had another episode." "Episode? How long have you been in here?" "How long have I been in here?" He repeated the question to himself softly. "It's been a couple of weeks or months. It's hard to tell. Not my first time either, you know. Dr. Pilip told me I need to stay in the asylum because of my hallucinations. My memory's fuzzy due to the potions. Medicine. Anyhow, when I'm not under the cure, some Veriths look strange to me." "In what sense?" My unwell version has deluded my brain into believing there are blue-skinned monsters infiltrated among us. Of course, that's only an optical illusion caused by my uneven brain chemistry and structure. Doc told me Sinches don't exist. Also, his his student says so. I have an irrational phobia of the aliens. I can't resume working as a soldier until I'm healthy again." "Sinches?" "Yes, the bald creatures from the other lands. According to legend, I have a neurological condition that doesn't allow me to distinguish reality from myth. Not unless I drink the special anti-disturbance liquid." Pilip listened with unease, and he even started questioning his own sanity, doubting whether his experience with the Frembalers had been real. "Dude, we gotta get out of here," whispered Pilip intensely. "What's your name?" asked Pilip. "I'm Malp. How about yours?" "Pilip." "Nice to meet you, Pilip. We're like cellmates now." "Malp, do you know anything about the Frembalers?" "Yes, I've heard about them. They work in cahoots with the Sinches. That's only my imagination playing tricks on my mind, though." "What if I told you it's not a fable?" "Well, that'd be interesting." "You believe me?" "I don't know. Believing we're sane is the worst symptom for these people. I kind of trust the nurses. They're kind. But Dr. Pilip looks like a Sinche to me, even on my medication." "Maybe he is. Mom, I'm going to need your help getting out of here. I have a plan and a horse waiting for me outside. What do you say?" "Sure, you seem cool. What can I do?" Pilip sat in his chair while Mop loosened his bonds. "Okay, thanks. Now let's simulate an argument. The 2 big guys over there will come and tranquilize us. They'll think I'm still strapped. Then I'll hit him." "Oof, this is like a movie," said Mop as he clapped joyfully. The 2 young pals started simulating a verbal conflict. "Your stupid Sinches are weaker than the Frembalers," yelled Pilip. "No! Sinches are behind it all. Balbers are just a tool." "How dare you! My research is way more accurate!" "Ah!" The 2 guards rushed towards them with 2 doses. "What's all this bickering about?" asked one of the 2, as the other fed Pilip. He took the chemical brew in his mouth, but as soon as he turned around to administer it to Mop, he ejected it and sucker-punched the 2 grown men. "Spit it out, Mop! Time to run!" Pilip and Mop ran together as an announcement sounded in all the fortress. "Attention, soldiers! We have 2 wild fugitives attempting an escape from the psych ward." Pilip and Mop managed to run a long way undetected until a little squadron of soldiers intercepted them, standing in between them and a hidden exit. Pilip kicked the closest one in the face, knocking him to the ground and stealing his sword. 2 men charged at the 2 simultaneously, but Pilip disarmed them, while Mop rooted for him. Pilip held the weapon up to a rookie's neck and bid the frightened soldier to push the door open behind him. Pilip stepped down on the snow. He turned around and watched Mop standing there, petrified yet happy. "Mop, come on!" "Maybe next time." Bye, Pilip. He waved with a smile and a tear as two men grabbed him inside. With no time to waste, Pilip whistled loudly and a black horse came rushing to his owner.
Good boy, Polt. Get,
he said as he jumped on him. Pilip and Polt ran as fast as they could. In the distance, the main gate was being lowered. Confused soldiers tried to get in the way, but the horse galloped impetuously. Pilip and his pet lowered their heads and barely made it out by a few inches. The gate's metal brushed Pilip's black hair. They quickly vanished in the cold, white fog. Pilip and his horse blazed towards the only refuge he could think of, his family's place. A snowstorm raged all around them until the cold became unbearable. Pilip, lost and scared, grabbed a few branches and sought shelter. He saw the opening of a small cave and went for it with his horse. The wind blew furiously outside. Inside, Pilip kindled a small fire with great difficulty. He sat in there next to Polt, grateful he had made it out of the fortress, but sad about Mop. The blizzard aided his escape, since it dissuaded potential scouts from his previous outpost. Pilip fell asleep after an exhausting day. Once he awoke, the snowfall decreased in intensity. The pale sun marked early morning. Pilip climbed on top of Polt and raced across the frozen wilderness. Hours passed and no threats appeared. However, Pilip started getting hungry. He got on a road, aware that this posed the risk of crossing paths with soldiers, but he took his chances anyway. Shortly after, he saw a sign on the road that indicated a nearby village not too far away. Frost Post. "Yeah!" shouted Pilip as he changed course of direction to his right. Pilip reached the town buildings and got off Polt. He walked into a tavern called the Toasty Hub and, with a few quarter sogs left in his pocket, bought himself a meal, apples for Polt, and a bed for the night. Pilip sat quietly at a table in the corner next to a fireplace, observing the room and checking on his horse from a window on his left. Pilip sipped on hot tea and ate warm stew with vigilant eyes. At a certain point, outside on the street, he heard the footsteps of a small company of rugged men. "Say, fellers, isn't this that runaway's horse?" "Same race, size, and color. Let's check inside." "How much's the bounty on that outlaw?" "More socks than you've ever had at once." Pilip's adrenaline started pumping. A man walked in the tavern, then another, and so forth. Pilip stood up quietly and went to the restroom. He waited in a stall. A couple men walked in. "So, who is this Mohawk kid?" asked one of them as Pilip listened. "Some lunatic terrorist." "Shh!" Third man reprimanded them. "The maniac could be in here," he whispered. "I'll open this door. You two open these two." Bam! Pilip knocked the bounty hunter out cold as he slammed the door open and ran out of the bathroom. "Stop him!" yelled the men. Pilip ran in between the tavern tables and jumped out of the closed window he was looking out for, shattering the glass. A shard stabbed his left arm. He got up after a somersault and hopped on Polt's back. As they fled uninterruptedly, Pilip lost some blood. The men behind him got on their horses and chased the red trail relentlessly. Pilip saw woods and thought he could lose the chasers there. However, the riders caught up to him and were able to steer him in a spot they knew. Pilip and Polt stopped, with their backs against the sheer face of an unsurmountable cliff. "Well, well, well," said the alpha pursuer. "Lucky for you, you're wanted alive. Lucky for us, you're bleeding. Don't make this harder than it has to be, sonny." 4 men on horses slowly closed in on Pilip. He was cornered. Then suddenly, Pilip spotted a nearby big brown furry beast amidst the snowy forest. The animal charged the team from their right, knocking and killing one of their men. The bear then proceeded to maul the other 2. Their leader briskly ran away on his horse among the forest trees. Polt and Pilip stood there stunned. The bear slowly approached them, breathing fiercely. Yet the creature merely sniffed Pilip. "Thanks," he said in disbelief as he pet the bear. Pilip took an apple out of a sack in his pocket and placed it out on his right hand. The animal accepted the offer. After eating the food, it turned around and started walking away. But it turned its head to look at Pilip and Polt one last time before running off. "Phew! Boy, that was a close one. Have an apple, Polt." he said as he fed his companion, rubbing his neck. After a long journey, they finally reached his hometown, Spoth. Pale soldiers swarmed the coastal city's streets. The walls were covered in manifestos depicting Pilip as a criminal madman. He ripped one off and told Polt, "Can you believe this nonsense?" His horse remained impassive. The sun set beyond the rightward mountains. At that hour they reached his childhood home, but chose to avoid knocking at the front door, lest guards waiting for him to show up spotted him. Pilip tied Polt outside his family's lightwood fence. He climbed over it into the backyard. A white husky barked once, but as soon as it saw Pilip's face, it ran towards him to lick him, knocking him to the dirt ground on his rear. "Hey, Slash, I missed you too, girl," he said, hugging her as she licked his face affectionately. Pilip stood back and told his dog to sit quietly. Right after, he climbed into his house from a hidden passage he used to get in and out from as a child. He walked downstairs and into the kitchen, but saw no one. Pilip slowly peeked over the wall and saw his dad and sister eating supper in silence with a somber look. The floorboard behind them suddenly creaked. Pilip turned around, startled, only to see his mother standing there petrified, speechless and gaping. "Mom," whispered Pilip. She immediately grabbed a wooden spoon from the counter and pointed it at her son as if to defend herself. "What the hell are you doing?" whispered Pilip. "We heard what you did," said his mom with tears. "What things?" asked Pilip as he slowly stepped towards her. "Don't come any closer. Cops are right outside," she warned sharply and quietly. A male voice was heard from the dining area. "Honey, everything all right?" She didn't answer. Pilip's dad stood up to check on his wife. He walked in the kitchen and saw his son. "Pilip, what are you doing here? If they find out, tell him to go away," said the fearful mom. "Mom? Dad?" asked a female voice from the table. Pilip's sister also saw Pilip and dropped her plate on the floor. She gasped and said, "We have to turn him in." Pilip was more hurt by their cowardice than by his injuries or foes. Desperate, he begged them, "Help me! Hide me!" "Pilip, you're sick. Please, turn yourself in," implored his mother. "No!" shouted Pilip angrily, smashing a bowl off the counter and making a loud noise. Shortly after, a knock was heard at the front door. "Police! Open up! We have a warrant to check your domicile for Pilip, son of Pilip." "Turn him in," the mom told her husband. "Yes," agreed their daughter. "Pilip, get out of here," whispered his father. "I said open up," repeated the policeman. "Run, son," yelled Pilip. "Officers, he's here," shouted the mom as she leaped to open up. Pilip ran to the backyard, shocked at her betrayal, while two policemen rushed in. The female relatives guided them in their pursuit. The father stood there in silence and grief. Pilip swiftly climbed over the fence, and his dog Slash did likewise. "Stay, girl," he told her in vain. He jumped directly on Polt's back, cut the rope loose, and fled away from the cops with Slash in the cold night. After crossing the closest intersection, a group of soldiers with torches shouted, "There he is!" Pilip, Polt, and Slash had nowhere to go, since the police force was alerted on all main roads. All the fugitives could do was ride to the coast on narrow, empty streets. With the utmost speed, Pilip reached the shore, thinking it to be a dead end. However, he saw a small wooden boat by a dock, large enough for the three of them. Pilip hopped in it and heard, "Ouch! I'm trying to sleep in here, bro." A plump young green man with brown hair and blue eyes took his blanket off. "What are you doing, bro?" asked the gabbard with sleepy eyes. "No time to explain. Please, can you help me and my animals get out of here?" "Sure. Let's head back to Gabbard Land. I've been here long enough anyway," he said as he got his oars ready. "Thanks. I'll head under the blanket with my horse and dog. You row and don't stop if possible." "Will do. What should I call you?" "Pilip." "Pleasure, Pilip. I'm Goid, son of Boyd. That little white creature there is my pet hamster's. Look. Don't mind him. He likes to chew on socks." The Pell hid, while his new Verith friend rode calmly on the dark and cold waters of the Asboth Sea. Pilip peeked from under his hiding spot and saw cops and their lights along his hometown's coast. Relieved, he sighed, hoping Pell boats wouldn't intercept his friendly Gabbard helper. "Bro, you must have done something big. I won't judge you, though. No offense, bro, but for me, Pells are way too strict. Rigid, Pilip. They've been so annoying about me sleeping out there." Pilip the Pell and Goy the Gabbard were on a small and crowded boat with Polt the horse, Slash the husky, and Slook the hamster. The white moon glowed near the horizon, lighting up the pitch-black waters of the calm sea. "Bro, you're hurt," said Goy with worried expression as he noticed Pilip's injury. "Oh, it's nothing, just a scratch." "Let me get a better look at your scratch." "Ouch! How'd you get that, bro?" "I jumped out of a glass window." "Holy cannoli! Tell me more. I'm all ears," said Goid as he treated his wound. Some guys were chasing me, bounty on my head." "What happened after?" "I got on Polt, my horse, and tried to lose them, but they knew the area better than I did, so they outsmarted me and we were trapped." "So how'd you escape?" "A bear. It protected me." "Boy or girl?" I don't know." "What's it called?" A bear?" "No, bro, I mean what you call it." "Call it? Man, I wasn't exactly thinking about that, but it left after I gave it an apple." "Apple? That's the name." "Apple? Yeah, bro. Apple. Get it?" Goid laughed. Pilip chuckled subtly. "Good one. Next time, if you see it, call it Apple." "Sure," replied Pilip awkwardly. "So, Pill. Bro, can I call you Pill?" Okay." "Pill, why's the law after you?" "Do you really want to know?" "Of course, bruh." "Well, it might sound nuts, but I joined a secret society, and it was full of traitors of Verithia." "So you betrayed that group?" "I wouldn't say betray," answered Pilip defensively. "They're the ones that wanted to let the Gromers in. I tried telling my comrades, and they institutionalized me. I've been on the run since." "Hey, bro, I'm not judging you. That sounds really intense." "Then why do you care?" "I'm trying to figure out where you're coming from, bro. When we get to Gabbard Land, I want you to meet my family. You're stressed out, just like that bear, Apple, helped you. Now it's our turn. So what do you say, bro?" "Are you sure about this? You could get in trouble." "Absolutely, bro. Police have a little authority in my country. We'll shelter you and help you chill out." "Thank you, Goid." "No worries, bro." Goid alternated between petting Slash and rowing towards the rising sun, while Pilip, Slook, and Polt slept peacefully in the wooden boat. Afterwards, golden rays illuminated Pilip's face, waking him up. "Good morning, Pil." "Hey, man," said Pilip as he squinted his eyes. "How long have I been out?" "All night, bro. But don't worry, we're almost there. Want some food?" "No, thanks. Goid, I wanted to ask, why were you in Pelland?" "I heard you guys have the best snow cones in Verithia. Thankfully, the rumors were true, of course. My mouth and belly were pleased." The two boys and their animals reached the shore of Gabbard Land. "How far is your house?" asked Pilip. "Not too far, not too close. But don't fret, bro. You won't even have to walk." No offense, Goid, but Polt can barely handle my weight." "He doesn't have to walk either." "Huh?" "Come on, I'll show you, bro. I got a friend waiting for me." Pilip, Goid, Polt, Slash, and Slook got off the wooden boat and marched on a steep path over a cliff. Once they reached the top, a huge gray elephant rested on green grass. "There she is!" shouted Goid. His large pet lifted its sleepy eyes and leaped for joy as it charged towards its friendly owner. The terrain quaked. "Ellie!" said Goid with a smile as the cute elephant hugged him with its trunk. Pilip looked at the scene with a stiff demeanor. "Man, she's gigantic," he said stiffly. "Yeah, elephants in Gabbard Land are like this." "You could build a house on top of her," added Pilip. "Well, we could put a tent up there if you want. I've done that a few times," replied Goid. Ellie loosened her grip and approached Goid's new friend. After sniffing Pilip, she also hugged him with her long tube. Pilip stood there immobile. "She likes you, bro." "I can't breathe," wheezed Pilip comically. "Then she really likes you. I knew you weren't a criminal." "My nation would disagree," he said, suffocating. The elephant let go of Pilip and approached Slash, who looked up submissively. Polt remained serious and composed as she sniffed him. "All right, bro, let's hop on." What? Yeah, bro. We'll sit on Ellie, said Goid as he climbed on, holding his Luke in his hand. Come on. Pilip reluctantly sat on top of Goid's elephant, who then started marching. Goid took some food out and offered it to his friend. If you want, Pult and Slash can sit with us. I think they're okay below for now. What's the matter, bro? Nothing. Well, I'm a little concerned we'll stick out too much. Trust me, bro. You're safer up here than down there. No need to worry. Here, have some chicken. The Veriths advanced at a steady pace across the warm, gabbed landscape. After a while, Pilip noticed that Slash was getting tired of following them. Hey, Goid, on second thought, could Slash sit with us? Absolutely, bro. Ellie, please pick up Pil's husky. The elephant wrapped its nose around the tired dog and placed it next to the young Pel. Days went by in the meantime. Pilip and Goid got to know each other well, while Pult followed Ellie. During the daytime, they traveled through the elevated greenery, on red soil, under warm skies, by tall cliffs, across barren, rugged coastal edges, and next to dark green, lush forests. At night time, Ellie rested, while Goid cut wood for fire with his axe, cooked delicious meals for all, played music with his saxophone, and took care of Pilip's emotional and physical wounds. On the flip side, Pilip taught Goid valuable military and survivalist skills he had learned growing up. After a few days and nights of bonding, they finally almost reached Goid's house, on the shore of Lake Garbo. At evening time, a firework shot up in the distance, producing an orange and pink explosion in the sky. Whoa, said Pilip. Bro, Pil, you'll love it here. The journey had managed to wear out even Pult, whom Ellie graciously placed upon her back. Besides the horse, Luke, Slash, Pilip, and Goid sat together, anticipating the long-expected break from their travels. And so finally, Ellie stopped by a large four-story house in a vibrant village on the edge of Garbo's lakely water. Goid inhaled deeply. Home sweet home, bro. I know it's cliche, but it really is sweet. Out of the front door, a large green-skinned gabbed man with a thick beard and eyeglasses ran out. Before Goid and Luke could even set foot on the grass underneath, the man embraced him in his bosom affectionately. My boy! How were the snow cones? Hey, Papa, delicious. How's Mama? How's everyone else? They'll be thrilled. Come on, let's get the grill started. Goid's dad saw the animals, and Ellie lowering Pilip on the ground and said, I see you gathering an army. Papa, this is Pilip. He's a refugee from Pelland. We met him in Spoth. His dog is Slash, and his stallion is Pult. Nice to meet you, sir, said Pilip. Hello, Pilip. I'm Boyd. Cool pets. How did my son treat you? Best treatment I've ever received, sir, he answered with a smile. Glad to hear. Come on, let's get you inside. Let me help you with those bags. Boyd grabbed their luggage and walked in through the front door. Goid followed right after him, and his family rejoiced. Then Pilip walked in with Slash, looking around, obsequiously inwardly, yet exhibiting stout confidence outwardly. The house was colorful and packed full of cheerful gabbins. The happy people there looked at the young pale stranger with excitement, while children came to pet his dog. Guys, tonight's a night worth celebrating. My eldest is back home. The household clapped loudly. We also have a pal guest here, so make sure you show him some of our typical hospitality. Come on, everybody, outside with food, drinks, instruments, and, most importantly, fireworks. The people went out through a backyard door that led to a garden on the lakeshore. Boyd wasted no time at all to get the grill going. Hey, Bill, this is my mama. Good to meet you, Pilip. I'm Gorgina. It's good to have you with us. Thanks, ma'am. Oh, you can call me Gorge. These are my siblings, said Goid as he pointed them out. Sig, Norgi, Gog, Magagi. The list seemed to never end. Okay, I'll try to remember. Goid's dad called Pilip to him. Pilip, could you give me a hand? I know you pals love strong meat. Sure thing, sir. I'll catch up with you later, bro, said Goid as he went to interact with some family members by a campfire next to Ellie. Pilip approached the grill. Pass me that tray, son. Hope you like steaks and liver. You're not a vegetarian, are you? No, sir, chuckled Pilip. Great. I think you're in the military? I had some pal friends who joined, but I haven't seen them in years. You know, it's such a demanding lifestyle. Quite the opposite of what we're used to, but I guess that's what makes Verithia what it is after all. Were you stationed close to the asphalt? No, sir. Almost at the limit, actually. Bloody biscuits! Oh boy, that sounds harsh. Yeah, it was a bit. Sorry for nosing in like this, Pilip. You're here to have fun and relax, and here I am tempesting you with questions. Oh, no worries, sir. I'm not used to relaxing much anyway, smiled Pilip. We can learn a lot from pals like you. If you want, maybe help my son shed off some weight. Otherwise, he'll end up just like me, joked the dad. I can do that. Your son helped me out quite a bit, sir. Nice, nice. Why, if you don't mind me asking, why'd you leave Pelland? You don't have to tell me if you're uncomfortable. Well, the truth is, sir, how's the situation over there? I've heard bizarre things. Really, sir? Like what? Bill got a little scared it might relate to his alleged wrongdoings. It's probably nothing. Only corridor whispers. But there's been news of a Gromer attack down under. I have no way to verify this personally, but the sources I heard seemed genuine. They feared Pels might have allowed it. What? Sir, where exactly was this incident? Somewhere in Frigoland. Sir, you might think I'm crazy for this, but I've seen the Gromers with my own eyes. There's a secret society, of the Friend Babblers, who plotted to bring Gromers into Verithia. This betrayal is the reason I had to leave, sir. No way. So you blew the whistle? Exactly. Why? Because the book says to. Boyd stepped away from the grill and hugged Pilip tightly. I knew you were a man of integrity the moment I saw you. But, sir, I'm endangering you just by being here. Danger? The real danger is cowardice. The dangerous ones are the Gromers, the Babblers, and many other unspeakable horrid and foul creatures. No, what you did was heroic. It is better to suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing. I applaud your bravery, son. Goid saw his dad speaking from a distance and walked towards the grill. Papa, are you boring my friend with one of your speeches? Smirked Goid. He turned towards Pilip and whispered. He's bothering you, isn't he, bro? He gets that from his mother, teased Boyd. Sir, what can I do? Asked Pilip. Keep being brave, but maybe, just to be safe, find a lawyer. Wilsithia's not too far from here, and it's got some of the most bookly scholars you'll ever find. They're smart and just. We Gabbets don't have a knack for legal litigations. Ellie and Goid could take you there. Yeah, bro, said Goid. Thanks, but you've already done so much for me. Oh, come on, bro. Let us help you, said Goid. Two are better than one, added Boyd. Well, all right then. I guess I accept your offer. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Goid. No problem, really, said Boyd. Yeah, bro, said Goid. The meat was cooked and the whole family sat down on the grass around the campfire, along with Slash, Luke, Polt, and Ellie. Before we eat, let us say grace. Goid, are you up for it? Asked Boyd. Sure, Papa. Goid closed his eyes. Dear Heavenly Maker, thank you for giving us this day our daily meat. May you bless the food, the hands that prepared, cooked, and seasoned it, and the fellowship with bros. I pray in the name of our perfect Savior. Amen, amen. Amen, said the crowd in unison. As they ate gleefully, music played and fireworks flew up. Some relatives asked Pilip, So, you're a ninja warrior or something? Thank you for your service. How cold is it up there? You got a wife? I like your hairstyle. After a bit, a little frightened Gabbard boy rushed to Boyd as he sat down eating and told him in his ear, The police are coming. Boyd gasped and asked, What's their ETA? 2 minutes, Uncle. Pilip, quickly, follow me. Goid, stall them, please. Pilip and Slash followed Boyd in the house and up the stairs. He pulled a book lever and a bookcase shifted, revealing a cozy secret room full of maps, documents, and a conspiracy board on the wall. Hide here. Don't make a sound until I'm back. Boyd went back out in the yard where 6 police officers were waiting. The eating and the music stopped. The policeman approached Boyd menacingly, who calmly sat back down to continue his meal. "What's the matter, officers? You want some food?" "We're scouting the area for a routine check." "Routine? Since when is interrupting meals routine in Gabbard land?" commented Boyd. "Watch your words, old man," shouted an officer. Another looked around. "Have any of you seen the following man?" he asked as he waved a picture in their mute faces. "That horse there looks a lot like the one that belonged to him. The reward is massive, people. You don't want to miss out on it." "Who exactly are you looking for?" asked Boyd. An officer told him. "We're looking for a pal who's completely lost his mind, is now a dangerous and violent criminal madman." "A criminal madman? Can't say we've seen one," answered Boyd as the others agreed with him. "You wouldn't mind if we make sure inside, would you?" "What? What? On what grounds? On what authority?" "We have authorization to search your house." "Since when? I didn't allow you." The men disregarded his remarks and walked towards the back door. "Hey, this is my property, not yours. You have no jurisdiction here." Appel took out a document and read, "The newly democratically elected body of Verithian government has officially legalized searches in any private domicile police want." "This is outrageous," said Goid as he stepped in front of them. "You're overstepping your boundary, bro." "Zip it, boy," said a policeman. "This is your last warning. Let him in, son. They won't find anything anyhow." Two men outside kept showing the poster with Pilip's face, but the Gabbard stayed in silence, ignoring the Pels. "Forget about it," an officer told his colleague inside. "These people are gluttonous scum. No discipline at all." The other four looked on every floor, leaving the rooms in a mess. After what felt like a very long time, the guards finally gave up their investigation and left. "You're lucky," policeman told Boyd. "We'll be back, and if we find out you've been secretly harboring this terrorist, you'll be locked up for treason. Desist from your illegal efforts now." The spiteful men walked away, slowly but surely. Pilip and Slash sat on the secret room's floorboard, patiently waiting for the cops to go away. The pal tried not to meddle in Boyd's affairs and research, but he couldn't help it. He stood up and observed the board, hanging on the wall, full of images and string connecting them. The depictions of faces and names included celebrities, rich and powerful men of Verithia, some of whom were designated with the following labels: Sinches, Frembabblers, Traitors/Compromised, and Shuz. Pilip looked at the latter term, puzzled out what it could possibly mean. Lo and behold, a copy of the book rested on the desk below. He opened it to find it color-coded inside and covered in notes and symbols, or little drawings. Pilip was enthralled as he skimmed through all that material, impressed by what seemed like hours, if not years, of dedicated and intense study. And then he heard the hidden bookcase door opening behind him. To his relief, it was his friend with his father. "Hey, buddy, they're gone," said Boyd. "They said they'd be back soon, however." "Papa, couldn't he hide here until this whole thing blows over?" "I'm sorry, son, but it seems like it's only going to get worse from now on. There's no hiding or cowering that will deliver. Also, because we're prime suspects now." "Oh, it's all my fault, sir," despaired Pilip. "Forgive me," he asked with a lowered face as he kneeled. "Forgive? Pilip, get up. Don't let those oppressors thwart your perception, okay, son?" "Okay, sir. I honestly don't know what to do. I don't want to run and hide all my life." This might sound like outdated advice, but again, I suggest you lawyer up. If not for legal reasons, at least to grow in the maker. Just remember who your true advocate is. "Papa, wouldn't the justice system itself be compromised at this point?" asked Goid. "It's possible. Nonetheless, it's a good thing to find a bookly mentor. Wilseth Land has many, Pilip. You should head to the cave." "But, sir, I've got no money left." "I can cover those expenses if necessary. If, Wilseths are very preachy, but they're not greedy. If they're virtuous and they see you're in need, they will help you for free, trust me. This is a sure thing. Plus, I'll go with you, bro," added Goid. "Really? After all this trouble?" "Yep. Right, Papa?" "Yes. Remember what the book says. Two are better than one, because they have a reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Boyd opened the desk drawer and pulled out a small book. Here, this is a pocket edition of the book. Perfect to travel with. This is just as important as eating, okay? Read it every single day, boys, alright? Okay, sir. What else should we do? Open it up. There's an old piece of paper there with a list of groups to watch out for. They all depart from the book in a way or another. The following symbols and names were written thereon: feeders, door knockers, liars, sandists, desertists, anti-lifists, cleansing ritual, old stuff, no godism, no makeism, no creatorism, potions, cross-dressing, misosophy, synthism, drinkism, strangism, sidism, many-godism, many-creatorism, equalism, leafism, jayism, lefters, spongism, brain-cleaning, upwardism, outsidism, massism, votism, worldism, shuz, bodism, friend babblers, weakers, writers, lustism, false prophets, false teachers, difference deniers, planet ringers, extra books, I don't knowism, mommyism, baby sprinklers, moon centrism, sun centrism, book of great granddaddy, knowledgeism, oldism, tongueism, ballism, curvism, adjustists, facilitation, anti-Verithism, book cutters, book cuttists, upgradism, deadists, workists, anti-hellists, recent transcriptions, timists. You two should leave as soon as possible, said Boyd. When exactly, Papa? Asked Goid. Tomorrow, after breakfast. We can show now. Come downstairs, Pilip. We're just about to have dessert. After laughing and eating together in the living room, mocking the officers and making light of the situation, the family members headed off to bed. Pilip slept on his friend's bed, while Goid slept on his bedroom's floor next to Slash and Slook. The next day, the house woke up in the late morning, thanked the Creator, and ate a humongous breakfast in unison. At last, Pilip, Goid, Slook, Slash, Polt, and Ellie were ready to head off to their neighboring country, with stress and high hopes, and so they left towards the border mountains after drawn-out and warm goodbyes.